Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Nerf Herder Radio, Season 2, Episode 4, to be exact. I'm your host, Carter, and with me is Jason, and
Hello.
Brandon's joining us tonight. So,
Hello.
a lot to talk about this week, guys. Real interesting week. Real busy week. Going back a lot of the Star Wars stuff, Marvel. We've got a lot of the shows that Marvel's pumping out on the Disney Plus service. Plus, we got the breakup between Spider-Man and the MCU. We can talk about that. So a lot to dig into tonight. So we're probably going to run a little bit long, but we wanted to go ahead and get started. So, how was your week last week, guys? I wasn't on the show, so anything we need to follow up before we jump into new business?
Well, I need to apologize for not being able to post a podcast because I didn't hit record or turn on Brandon's audio, so it was just me talking for the entire episode, just about, so I'm an idiot. Sorry, guys. So there is no episode 3 unless you just want to hear me talking to myself. But other than that, I think Brandon did great. I'm glad he was able to jump in, being a good brother, so I appreciate that.
Aww. Who's my
Aww.
little buddy?
Not you.
Right on.
Shun the non-believers, Charlie.
I was for those that are listening, I was down in sunny Orlando, Florida, taking my daughter to college, and we got to go to Universal Studios. I've come to the realization that I don't think I like roller coasters anymore.
Uh-oh.
They have a Hulk ride at Universal, and that thing it's sadistic how twisted, and the thing just beats you up, and I felt like I went 3 rounds with Hulk, and it really, I'm still scarred. Other than that, it was great. We did all the Harry Potter stuff. I did that other than the business trip and moving her into college, but I had a good time, so we enjoyed all that.
Awesome.
So that's me. And then this week I'm remote up in Chicago doing a little work. I got to pay the bills somehow. Can't be a famous streamer all the time, right?
Yeah,
So,
that's also why Carter looks like he does on the stream, guys. He looks like Dante, kind of from Clerks. It's his avatar for his stream. I could find more embarrassing pictures, but I thought I'd spare him, this time, because this is kind of like the trailer before the movie that's supposed to happen.
Jesus Christ, never gonna let that go.
Nope.
Y'all are bad.
Anywho,
Yeah, so let's get into it. We want to jump in. Where do we want to? Tons of stuff like we talked about. Do we want to dive into the D3 Expo? I can jump to Star Wars. Some other cool stuff that kind of got announced. It was a crazy week last week, I feel like, as far as like tech, gaming, and movie news.
oh yeah, man, it's a lot on the agenda. Let's jump into Mandalorian.
You want to do Mandalorian?
Absolutely. Everyone should do Mandalorian.
So one of the, in one of our Discord servers, one of the guys we play games with, we posed the question about the timeline and where does Mandalorian fit, and so Jason found from D3 the timeline, and if it's after Return of the Jedi, there's this long gap between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. So obviously, this is post, Death Star 2 blowing up, post Boba Fett falling in the Sarlacc pit. So I don't think there's any question as to Mandalorian Boba Fett. Probably not. But dude, this show, like, without showing us a whole lot about the show, I'm super excited about this show. It looks like a spaghetti western set in space, kind of probably what Firefly could have been if it wasn't so cheesy.
Hey. Firefly was good.
I know. But, yeah, this show looks awesome. I'm excited about the cast all the way down. Pedro Pascal. Pascal plays the Mandalorian. You got Gina Carano. You got Nick Nolte's in it. You got
Carl. Is it Carl Urban?
Carl Weathers.
Carl Weathers. I'm getting them all.
And what we have seen, one of the things I'm most excited about is we finally get to see another bounty hunter in action, besides Boba Fett in the one scene, really, in Empire, and one scene in Jedi, of IG-88. And that dude was always one of my favorite toys to play with, just because I thought he was totally badass looking. But you're watching his body spin around and shoot and all that, and there's a lot to IG-88 that most people don't know, and he's predictive. He's basically a walking AI bounty hunter, which in itself is completely badass because he would predict where people were going to be before they even knew it and go capture them and stuff from some of the non-canon stories.
Yeah, I was never familiar with IG-88. I remember you see him, it's of course I just watched the Family Guy Star Wars, and Stewie's sitting there like, Lizard Man, this guy, you gotta go find him, and Boba Fett's the chicken. But I remember it from Star Wars too, IG-88 standing there and Boba Fett, and then there's like there's a lizard guy and some other stuff, and they're never really referenced ever again. But somebody took that character and developed it very more notoriously and nefariously. It seems like that's all I've ever really known of him.
Well, I thought he was developed in one of the Knights of the Old Republic games, like the first one. I thought he was one of your companions.
It's been forever since I played those. He might have been, but his name designation is he's like the 88th iteration. So there's been an IG-87, IG-86, similar to the Destiny franchise Jason and I play, where where the exos are wiped and you get a new number. So, but he's been perfected 87 times over. So I'm excited about that. You kind of view in and you see from the trailer, all those stormtrooper helmets on Pike. So obviously there's no love for the Empire in the Outer Reaches where this story takes place. We don't know really a whole lot about the story. He kind of works for a bounty hunter guild run by Carl Weathers, and they kept it vague, and I love the fact that they have, because there's not a whole lot of spoiler material out there, at least not that I've found, doing kind of superficial looks into him. But super excited.
Yeah, the stuff I heard about it was basically that where they're sitting at right now, the Outer Rims, which is the outermost planets in the Star Wars galaxies. Hold on, we're gonna get dorky here. It's very, very Wild West out there right now, because while the New Republic is holding the core worlds, even the time frame after Return of the Jedi that we see this takes place in, they're still trying to gain control of the entire galaxy. So the New Republic's got the core worlds in place and holding them, and they're under Republic rule. But the Outer Rims are still Wild West and crazy, and the Hutts are controlling things, and gangsters and other stuff hold worlds and stuff. And that's kind of where the Mandalorian takes place. Yeah. The real interesting thing I'm curious about with the Mandalorian is this is obviously a Mandalorian. Mm-hmm. He's got the Mandalorian armor on him, and there, amongst those people, there is a designation called the Mandalorian, and he is supposedly the best bounty hunter that, and I forget what Boba Fett's people are actually called. They're a race. They don't call themselves Mandalorians, I don't think. But he is the best bounty hunter, period. In the books before they became non-canon books, Boba Fett, lived. He came back. He became the Mandalorian. Yeah. But then a rogue sect of the Empire actually poisoned his world so that he can never go back on his own world. Spoiler.
I'm very intrigued by it as well, mainly for two reasons. Everything in Star Wars, it always kind of drives me bonkers, and I've kind of got it on the screen here on the stream. I've zoomed in a little bit, and I'm moving it around, so anybody's going to probably hate that right now that's watching us. But we got episode 1, 2, 3. They're, 2 to 3 is kind of close together, and you got the Clone Wars series over there, and it's the Age of the Republic. The Kenobi series they announced is going to fit in there right after Solo, and between Solo, it looks like. And I don't know about y'all, but I've read some interesting articles. It's like, how much more is there to Kenobi to tell post episode 3? Because he pretty much hung out on Tatooine the whole time. He lived with the people for a little while, and then he realized it's harder to not be a Jedi than be a Jedi, and he moved himself into isolation. He had a lot of fights with the Tusken Raiders and all that, but, is it just him sitting on a bench all day long talking to himself and talking to Yoda?
Well, I think if they kind of follow Rebels and a lot of the cartoon stories, is there is the interaction between him and Darth Maul in Crimson Dawn. Yeah. So I think they're gonna. That's the only story they've got, and I can't see them doing the show, and they are getting Ewan McGregor to play Obi-Wan
Yeah.
Kenobi.
No, I think that's great too.
So,
Definitely.
there's kind of a big power there. I can't imagine that that they're casting the show with the intent of running it long term, because,
No.
like you said, the daily adventures of Obi-Wan. I went to the store today and picked up power converters. I fought some Tusken Raiders.
I fixed the moisture evaporators for a neighbor
Right.
nearby.
And so at the end of episode 3, Yoda basically says, a job you have, commune with your master from the dead. So Obi-Wan's going to learn how to become a Force ghost and capture that skill. So there's some of that. There's some of the stuff with Crimson Dawn. Other than that, it's going to be boring, man. And
I'm curious if they're going to
imagine
introduce Ahsoka in that as well, but that takes place during that's during
Clone Wars.
No,
Clone Wars.
Or is that Rebels, Brandon?
Ahsoka Tano exists within the Clone Wars saga. However, she was also brought and introduced in the Rebels saga, so she exists between those 2 points in the timeline.
Okay, so and that makes
So
sense.
she could, Obi-Wan could take where Ahsoka at the end of Clone Wars, at least the stuff I've seen, because apparently there's another season somewhere.
They just announced season 7 of Clone Wars.
Yeah. Ahsoka could be where she sits with Obi-Wan and trains and finishes her Jedi training, because in Clone Wars, as far as I remember, Ahsoka walks away from the Jedi. She will not train to be she never completes her Padawan training. It could be between the Clone Wars and Rebels where we see Ahsoka again. She actually spends that time with Obi-Wan and it could be about Obi-Wan training Ahsoka to be a Jedi Knight.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that would be cool too. She gonna run around and do flips with Obi-Wan on her back and stack rocks on top of each other. Sorry, just making a loop joke there.
Playing Rocky IV music.
Yeah, I'm with. I don't think this is intended to be a long-running series. I could see mini-series at best.
I'm very curious because
I don't think they're going to keep Ian McGregor tied down to this for very long.
I think because here's what's thing to me. You had Solo, and we had this introduction back of Darth Maul. I have a feeling that's going to tie in somewhere, like you're saying, Carter, and then we might see some other little plugs in here, short-run shows, like Cassian Andor that's coming into play before Rogue One, so we kind of get a lot of his backstory. But, I'm going to skip ahead just for the sake of time, but, we have Mandalorian, and then we have, I want to say at least 20, 30 years between Mandalorian and Force Awakens. So I want to see Mandalorian, especially after Rise of Skywalker, explore what's the Empire doing, where does Palpatine, and how does that all that kind of backstory stuff, how does the First Order rise to be? Well, we see some of that and him playing around with that, even if it's not like that's what the show's about, but like little plugins here and there that kind of connect some dots for us.
Well, I think if you look at the timeline after Mandalorian, that's after Jedi, so Palpatine's dead. Well, so we think or assume, based on what we've seen from the Rise of Skywalker. So during this whole time frame, you've got Leia and Han trying to kickstart the New Republic. That may be a boring timeline. I don't know. There's an opportunity to talk about this. The guys, Brandon, I think you had talked about him once before, the Timothy Zahn, Heir to the Empire books. They would plug into this timeline if they were canon.
Yeah.
There's the entire expanded universe that I know plugs in between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. In the old canon, the Empire still held the Moffs, held a section of space, and it became Imperial space, and the New Republic did not pursue anyone into that. So I'm curious if the First Order is basically a reimagining of that, where this section of space became Imperial space, and they renamed themselves the First Order, and began expanding out again and caused another galactic war.
So I read somewhere that, it's an offshoot of the Empire, but it's not the Empire. But it wasn't like they're like, hey, we're just going to call ourselves the First Order. It was Snoke had a huge play into creating this First Order, apparently. And I would love to, hopefully we just find out in Rise of Skywalker what happened there? You know, who is Snoke? Why is he who he was? You know, why is it, you know, Kylo was able to, you know, with the lightsaber and flick it around and kill him, all that kind of stuff. So, I don't know. We'll see. I'm very excited. There's a lot of stuff that came out of that from D23, and we'll get into the other stuff here in a second. But you know, I think the other big thing I saw, you know, if we want to jump to it, was the trailer with Rey, and we see Rey, who kind of looks like Ventress. She's got the skinny, you know, the recessed in cheeks and kind of jacked up looking self, and she's got this lightsaber, you know, it's kind of looping through here, that's two-sided, and it flicks out to be a bow staff lightsaber. And I'm very curious to see what's going on here. I think, to me, it's very, is it another vision? Is this a, you know, what is this?
Yeah, I gotta assume it's a Force vision similar to Luke's experience in the cave and her experience in, you know, on Octo. So I think this is just a Force vision showing her a potential, either that or Kylo. But with Snoke was basically manipulating Kylo and Rey. So I that's what I gotta assume this is. Plus, there are some internet theories that it may not be Rey and it may be the other girl. Oh crud, forgot her name.
Rose?
Not Rose. She's new. You know, the actress. She was on Gossip Girl or whatever. You know, shoot.
I got nothing.
Yeah.
Time out.
I can go ask my wife real quick about Gossip Girl.
For the internet. No, maybe it wasn't Gossip Girl.
Well, it also makes me want...
Talk amongst yourselves. I'll get back to
Well, all right. Well, Carter's searching the internet for us. To me, I also curious, because there's been the theories, too, of Rey, is Rey a clone? Does Rey really turn Sith? Maybe this is a clone. She
turns Sith and Kylo turns to the Force, and because he's been Solo, he's also been Skywalker because his mother's Leia, and Leia's a Skywalker.
Yeah.
And is that the actual rise of Skywalker? Rey falls, and because she's stronger than Kylo, the Emperor, someone ditches Kylo and trains her, and Kylo comes back as the rise of Skywalker and embraces the light side.
Yeah.
Carrie Russell.
I don't know who that is.
Her character's name is Zori Bliss, and she is.
That's not the chick that's Carrie. I want to say Carrie Underwood, Carrie Fisher's daughter, right? No. Okay, I don't know if that's who you're talking about, because she's in the movies too. I don't know. I'm very intrigued by this movie. I'm trying to avoid spoilers as much as possible, like official stuff. The speculation stuff I kind of dig into a little bit, but I don't want to as well, because somewhere out there somebody's going to guess it right, and I'm going to read it, and then you're going to hear, you know, you're going to go see the movie, and it's going to just start to play out, and I'm immediately going to be like, going to look at it and go, oh, I know what's going to happen now, and I won't have that same shock factor. You know, like in Last Jedi when Chick drives the starship into the First Order's battle cruiser. He got dead silent in that scene. And I'm like, oh, that was awesome.
Yeah,
that was a shocker to me. I really thought that was cool to see. You know,
why didn't they do this before?
I know.
Look, it's a Death Star. Not anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
It ain't a trap.
Whoops.
So
they didn't want to waste the ship.
Yeah.
No, the rumor I saw was that it could be Carrie, you know, and Carrie Russell is an old friend of Poe in the show. I don't know who she is in Star Wars lore, if anybody, but there's some internet
to her character, so we don't know who she is yet.
Right. There's some internet rumor speculation that might be her. With the
she's on that show.
The Americans.
The Americans, yes.
Yeah, she wasn't on Gossip Girl. I was grasping at straws when I made that. But anyway, no, you know, I hate to say it, Jason, because I know you'll give me a hard time, but I'm still waiting for the trailer of this movie, like the full release trailer.
We've just had teasers.
Yeah, we got the D23 reveal. We just had teasers. I'm ready for the full length.
Yeah,
trailer
I mean, we're
to come out before the movie.
Well, let's hope it does. I'm curious when they're gonna drop it. I'm trying to think. I mean, they could drop it in November. Isn't that when Frozen 2 comes out? Some of the other Disney stuff. I don't think they would do
but
Frozen 2.
This movie comes out in December. You've got
know.
to, if anything, I would expect it in September-ish. I don't know when any of the previous ones dropped, especially in the Christmas time frame movie lines. But I think we've got to get the full trailer out mid-October at the latest.
Yeah. I'm just curious what's coming out between now and I'm trying to scroll through it and see. We had Aladdin, Toy Story 4, Lion King, Artemis Fowl didn't come out, got pushed. Maleficent comes out in October, so they might tie it into the Maleficent movie.
That's the next Disney movie that comes out. So that might be the next place where they reveal it is with another one that here's our other big release, which is Maleficent. Go see it to see the new Star Wars trailer.
Well, I mean, they're not. I know that Disney, like we talked about before, Disney's cutting a bunch of their movies and stuff with Fox because they're worried about budget cuts and everything else. Well, I was gonna say maybe Ford versus Ferrari, they could plug it in there to drive attendance, but it comes out in November. So
Ford versus Ferrari is gonna be awesome.
I think it's gonna be awesome too. There's also that other movie that's coming out that's got Tom Holland in it, and they're like ogres. It's a Disney movie as well, I think. I don't know. We're getting off topic. We can sit here and speculate. I want to see a trailer though. It's called Onward. I don't know if it's a Disney movie or not. Yeah, it is. Disney Pixar. It comes out March of 2020. Nope, not it.
That would be a weird place to release this movie.
Yeah. The only thing I'm really excited about coming out that comes out, and I think it's next Friday, is It Chapter 2. I cannot wait. I wish my daughter was old enough to go see it because I would dress her up as Pennywise.
She's old enough, just
traumatize her.
I think you've already done a good job with that. I
mean, she'll sleep in the bed with you until she's 14 if you take her to that.
Yeah. I mean, she's just not traumatized now. She just likes to walk around and say she's Minnie Penny and you'll float too.
Oh God.
Where'd she get that?
Oh, I instilled that.
Don't ask questions like that.
Yeah.
You'll regret it.
Yeah. So let's jump into D23 if you guys want to. You want to do that?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I got all the stuff. There's tons of stuff that they announced. Some of it we've already known about. There's Loki, Hawkeye, WandaVision, Mandalorian. I think the big surprise to me is how Marvel heavy they went in on the streaming side. I don't know if you noticed that. Well, there's Moon Knight, She-Hulk.
Oh yeah.
Miss Marvel. The What If series. I mean, they even did some more childhood stuff. Like there's a Spider-Man Buddies, and it's gonna have Spider-Gwen, Amazing Spider-Man, and Miles Morales in it, and it's gonna be a kids-oriented show in the Disney Now and Disney Junior series. But it's just tons and tons of Marvel content.
Well, what other content are they gonna put in there?
Well, I mean, they have the whole Fox back. They confirmed they're gonna put like the whole Fox catalog, Disney catalog on there as well.
Yeah, but it's everything we've all watched for years on.
I know.
Netflix already. They've got to spin up a bunch of new IPO stuff to make people switch to this new service.
Yeah. No, I know.
Well, they're going to have the whole Disney catalog on here, right?
Yep.
Yeah, but come on, dude. We all can walk in our movie rooms right now and pick up every Disney movie imaginable on Blu-ray, Platinum, and whatever else they've put it out on.
Yeah.
We've got them all.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, I mean, I think we've got
that's
this.
why we're seeing the big content.
Yeah.
I'm really curious if after, Carter, you and I talked about this because Eternals just showed up on the loop I have. After Endgame, I mean, that was kind of to me, that was like the masterpiece of culmination of 11 years of movies. And, we lost Iron Man, we lost Cap, we lost Black Widow. They're gone. I mean, technically, yes, we have the multiverse now, as we have Doctor Strange's Multiverse Madness announced. We're introducing Blade. They're having a Black Widow prequel movie. But the Eternals, to me, I feel like is the next big bank, series they're going to try to work off of with Guardians a little bit. But Hemsworth has got to be on the end of his contract, and we know that because Portman's going to take on. His contract. Well, he's going to be in Thor: Love and Thunder, and Portman's going to take on the role of the Hammer. So, I mean, there's nothing. Seems like they're doing any Avengers saying, and there's Shang-Chi as well that's coming out. There's just tons of them, but I'm just curious. What do you think of the Eternals? I'm not very familiar with it. I'm a little leery on the casting, just because there's great actors. I like Kumail Nanjiani. He's funny. I don't see him as a big action hero guy, but I know he's been bulking up. He's buddies with Dave Bautista. The dude that played Rob Stark's in it. And I don't know the rest of them, but Selma Hayek's in it. And she's done some actiony stuff, Hitman's Bodyguard and some other things. So I'm not too worried there, and she's a good actress. I'm really worried about Angelina Jolie. I'm not a fan. I don't feel like she's going to carry the role very well.
Yeah, this movie I think is going to be the make or break movie for Marvel. You keep throwing actors at this cast. It kind of scares me that they don't have enough content.
Yeah.
So they're trying to fill it with cast. I mean, yeah, Richard Madden from Game of Thrones, Angelina Jolie, Kit Harington, Selma Hayek.
Oh yeah, Kit Harington too. I forgot about him.
Marvel's never really. I don't think ever overcasted any of their movies so far, and it feels like this one might be the one.
I'm a little worried it's going to be like a Justice League movie. It's like, hey, we're going to introduce all these characters at once to force it quicker than we've done in the past.
Yeah.
And it's just not going to go well. That's what I'm worried about.
I mean, the storyline for it is the saga of the Eternals, a race of immortal beings who lived on Earth and shaped its history and civilization. I mean, not much there, but
yeah,
I think it may be their first Marvel flop. They said they took it on the chin with Solo, that it didn't perform the way they wanted to, but it still made money. I think this Eternals movie may be the first flop, because I think by the time we get to Eternals, people are gonna get burned out of the Marvel movies. It's kind of like Star Wars figured out after Solo that they didn't do a movie between another movie in between years, because people had already burned out on Star Wars because we had so much content. Yeah. And that was just with, Force Awakens, Rogue One, The Last Jedi, and then we had Solo, and it was like they took a break and didn't do anything else because.
But I wasn't Star Wars overloaded. I've been more Marvel overloaded. But I was more of just you pushed out, Force Awakens, a retelling of Episode 4. I felt like just did a little differently, which is fine. You had Rogue One, amazing, especially when you find out, that's the Death Star plans, ship leaves, there's Leia on it, we've got Hope, all that, and A New Hope, and that's how they got to there. That was great. You had Last Jedi, it was okay. I felt like, there's some creative liberty taken that should have been taken. And then you had Solo with, I didn't like who they had playing Han. I like Donald Glover. I liked him in Community.
He was a good Lando.
I don't know. It was too. It's all here,
well,
baby.
The problem with Solo,
it was too swoony for me.
Is they had the movie, the original directors. They had like 90% of the movie done before they got fired. So they bring in Ron Howard, who tried to stitch together a movie.
Yeah, and you can tell.
I think if Ron Howard would have had the project start to finish, it would have been amazing. And I like Solo. Solo, not in the grand scheme of Star Wars movies, it's middle of the road, but it grows on you.
It's not a terrible movie. It's just not. No. It's not one of the ones that I'm like, hey, let's watch Solo.
Right. They could have done a lot better.
Yeah.
Not the worst. Could have been better.
Yeah.
Do we have an up-to-date MCU timeline? I'm trying to find one, and a lot of them, I think I might have found. No, that's an old one. Because a lot of them still show like the Inhumans, which I know that project's been killed. I'm looking for like an MCU Phase 4 timeline. Just looking at all the movies we've got. I mean,
yeah.
I know we've got Doctor Strange 2. There's a Black Panther 2. There's gonna be another Ant-Man. You got the Immortals, the Thor, Black Widow, Fantastic Four is going to work their way. I might have found one, but it still has the Spider-Man. This isn't good. So yeah, I'd like to see if we could find a better.
I mean, there's MCU-timeline.com that kind of that. I mean, it's got graphics and everything with it. I'm kind of liking this. And
Is
it's
that a
hot,
legit
but
way?
I don't think it's an official
What is
thing.
it? MCU.timeline?
Yeah, MCU-timeline.com. I mean, it's got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Jessica Jones. So it's got
Okay, so we got
Keen. I
Thor
don't know what the hell.
2021, Shang-Chi, Doctor Strange, The Eternals, Black Widow. Those are coming up movies. That's basically all we've got at this point.
Yeah, they've got 67 different things listed on here, and some of these,
Yeah,
like
okay.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. does not fall in canon with Marvel anymore. I don't think. I mean, Jessica Jones. I think it doesn't. Nor does Cloak and Dagger, Punisher, Runaways, Daredevil, Iron Fist, and Luke Cage. They all kind of got stripped out. So, but they're in here to kind of, I guess, give you a timeline of where they might play within the rest of the movies. But you know, the Inhumans. That's the one I was thinking of. I'm afraid Eternals is going to be like.
Yeah, I don't know what to think of that one.
So.
That one was pretty rough.
I just couldn't get into it. I think it was bad casting and bad scripting that led us down that path.
Yeah.
And maybe not even casting, direction and guidance from like production and the directors. So
yeah. So yeah, I don't know. And then we got the breakup of Sony, pulling, the divorce between MCU and Sony pulling Spider-Man.
Yep.
What effect is that going to have? Because Tom Holland was apparently Stan Lee's favorite Spider-Man of all time. He did a great job. I think he fit in the MCU well. And then what does that do with, like you mentioned, Spider-Gwen, Miles Morales? Does Sony just have rights to Peter Parker, or?
So Sony owns the contract to Holland and everything, and he was at a convention and said that he's going to be in the next Sony-produced Spider-Man. It's going to be different. He's thankful for everything. Feige and everybody's kind of come out and said, yeah, this is not going to change. It is what it is. I guess they anticipated it a little bit. So it's disappointing because I haven't seen Far From Home, but everything I've seen in Far From Home was they alluded to Spider-Man kind of taking on the responsibilities of Tony Stark a little bit. And that's obviously not the case now. So who knows?
Yeah, it's definitely going to have an impact on that storyline. I mean, I think that the upside is Phase 4 is not going to be on Earth very much, as kind of looks at the timeline, or at least in New York City.
Yep.
So maybe Spider-Man will just kind of get written out of the storyline. But like I said, if it's just Tom Holland, and I mean, and then you get into contract law and all that stuff. I mean, so what all does Sony own in regards to Spider-Man? The entire catalog, the entire
I mean,
library.
They've got everything.
Yeah, they own the entire IPO, everything involved with it. So Venom, Spider-Man, Spider-Gwen, Miles, the Spider-Man name.
Anything
That's why Marvel's going to introduce the Night Monkey.
The Night Monkey. Well,
Jason
they are going to
doesn't know
bring
what
in.
that is.
They are going to introduce Moon Knight. So okay, well, I was wondering if Feige and those guys could say, well, okay, you can have Tom Holland. We're going to go Miles Morales and bring in a different Spider-Man. But apparently,
maybe they could buy it out of them, but knowing how the success of Miles has been in Spider-Verse, they're not going to. And Sony's already confirmed they're making a Spider-Verse sequel, so they're going to roll the dice. They've got Venom 2. They're going to do non-Marvel Studios Spider-Man, and they're going to do what is it? Spider-Verse, and who knows what else. I mean, there's talk of them doing the Sinister Six. That's been floating around for a while, so we'll see.
Yeah,
I'm hopeful.
Well, I saw Venom not too long ago, and I have to admit it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. It's kind of enjoyable, a different take on the character, but it wasn't horrible.
Yeah.
It's hard to have a Venom movie without Spider-Man in it. I think those two are so integral, but we'll see. I mean, I did ride the Spider-Man ride at Universal Studios. That was kind of fun. Had a lot of the Sinister Six in it. Sorry, just had the shameless plug for Universal Studios.
That's good.
All right. I mean, yeah. Looking at where are we at now? So looking at a lot of the D23 announcements, they did announce some shows. Moon Knight was one I'm kind of excited about. I know a while back we talked about it on the podcast. That fan made Moon Knight video, I think it was about 15 minutes long, was really cool. I'd like to see how they do this character. I mean, he's basically Marvel's version of Batman. If you want to,
Yeah.
you're not too familiar with Moon Knight as a character.
Taskmaster shows up in Black Widow. I just scrolled across the screen. I just thought maybe think of that one. So.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So Taskmaster will be her villain.
Yep.
Kind of curious how they pull off his costume. He's kind of a cool character.
Yep.
So we've got Moon Knight, we've got She-Hulk, Miss Marvel. I mean, so a lot of announcements for the Disney streaming service. Nothing known about these shows at this time, so there's hardly anything other than announcements from D23 to get that excited about. But Moon Knight's a cool character. I mean, I wonder now that they've pulled all these characters off, like Punisher and Daredevil and all that, off of Netflix, if they're going to bring them in, and kind of reestablish that storyline. I could see them doing it, maybe moving it to the Hulu side of things, because Hulu does give them the ability to do rated R stuff or PG-13, where the Disney service is only supposed to be PG-13 and below. So, like, Moon Knight's not a friendly guy. He's not a nice neighborhood Spider-Man. He's kind of brutal.
Yeah.
So I think they've got a lot of options there. She-Hulk, I'm excited about. It's going to be kind of cool.
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah. See what they do with that. Because all the Hulk projects have pretty much sucked, except anything he's done in the Avengers.
Yep. That's all Fox-controlled IP.
Yep. So I mean, we'll just stay tuned as this. I mean, the thing, and one of the things about the streaming service we talked about is I saw somewhere that Disney's going to release the Disney Plus, Hulu Plus, and ESPN all for like $13.99.
Yep.
Now, I don't know if that's a 2-year deal or what the price is. I mean, that is going right at the heart of Netflix. I mean, I think Disney's goal is to put Netflix out of business.
Well, I mean, as all these streaming services spread out, and CBS, Hulu's got their thing, Disney Plus, Universal's going to do something by themselves. You're going to start pulling everything apart, and that's why Netflix, I think you're seeing a lot more Netflix original series now, is because they've got to spin up their own IPOs, because
sure,
they don't have a lot of original content. We just take your crap and share it for everybody else to use,
right,
and pay you a nickel.
Yeah, well, interesting business model.
Yep. Well, they filled a void that didn't exist yet, and now the problem is that everyone else has seen the void is so vast that there's plenty of room for more people to come in and play. Right. And it wasn't a big deal when Hulu walked in and first started playing, because Hulu originally, Hulu did TV and Netflix did movies.
Right.
And now they both do both.
But Hulu is marketed as, like you said, live TV, streaming TV, your broadcast networks.
Right.
Well, a lot of that got pulled, though. ABC, or I forget who it is who was partnered with, but 2 of the 3 have their own streaming thing now, since to compete with Hulu. And then I mean, Netflix is going to feel a blow, but to me, somebody who, you just pay $70-$80 for internet, and I could pay $13 for, if I wanted it, Disney, Hulu, and ESPN, and then another $13 to get Netflix.
And then $90 or $120 a year for Prime.
Well, I mean, but Prime I don't count in there because I don't watch Prime movie content as much. I use Prime for other stuff, music and shipping. So I don't count Prime in the mix, but still, $90.
No, they've got a lot of content.
I know. I watched The Boys recently. It's pretty jacked up, but and it's like $130 now or something. Like, they've really jacked the price up, but it's like still $10 or a little more than $10 a month on average. You just have to do a one-time fee, which I don't like, annually, but you still come out ahead over. I mean, so you may average it out. Say you're paying $40, $50 extra on top of your internet bill, whereas a lot of people I know are paying like $280, $180 for internet and cable, phone, and all this other stuff, and 90% of it they're not watching, and they have all these other restrictions in place where we cut off that piece and we just do streaming only, and I still come out ahead. I'm not saving as much as I did in the beginnings, but I'm still saving money.
Well, I think if anything, all of these streaming services are going to force cable companies to adopt or die. The subsidizing programs. You got to buy the plus package just for the game show network when all you really wanted was the Oprah Winfrey Network or whatever. So I think a lot of these subsidized channels are going to die, and I'm not that upset about it.
Yeah, I mean, there's other platforms for that kind of stuff to go on to.
Sure,
YouTube,
there is.
Hulu, other studios will pick them up. If they're worth their money, they'll get picked up other places. If not,
Right.
sorry for your loss. We don't need 487 channels. I don't need ESPN, Dos and Ocho and 28 and 37. I don't need that many ESPN channels. I'm sorry, I don't watch ESPN at all.
I know that's you. There are some
I
that
know.
do and don't anything else, but the the premium broadcast channels like USA, TNT, TBS, they'll survive. Whether
Yep.
whether they're lumped into a streaming service or start their own streaming service or whatever, those guys will survive. Yeah, I think it's all the DIY networks. It's all the all the news channels will survive, but I think it's your information and educational channels are all going to fall off. I mean, you're on any digital service, probably that 200 to 500 channel range. There's people don't want that anymore. They don't want to, and they shouldn't have to pay for it. The problem is all those providers are accustomed to $150 a month from you. And in their business model, they don't feel like they should not receive that money. So there will not be a cost savings for cutting the cord unless you completely do it and you discipline yourself to one, maybe two services to do it. Because your internet service, and I've said this 100 times, and I've said it on this podcast, your internet service is going to go up when you decide to get rid of cable and phone and just go internet only. That bundle price is going to disappear. And so all those cable companies are going to probably run some 24-month promos, but then at the end of 24 months, don't be surprised to see your internet go up to $150 a month.
Yeah, and they're going to start watching data caps more. I know, a lot of them said things like, right now you don't end up with what do you call it? Any fee for how much data you use. And now it's going to end up rolling slowly where it's like, oh, you don't have TV with us anymore, so we're only going to give you, 500 gig a month or 250. Right. And that's like that's one season of streaming something in HD, and you're out of data. Or that's downloading 2 Xbox games. You're out of data. Forget it. And you're going to see it to where, but if you come back and get our free TV subscription with us, we'll give you unlimited data.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see how it all shakes out. I mean, like I said, unless you're diligent and can cut the cord, and maybe you just want the Disney service or you just want the CBS All Access or whatever, there won't be a cost savings. There may be an inconvenience savings more than anything.
Yep.
Right. Well, the way we watch and what we watch is going to be really interesting. It's something we didn't touch on as far as I know, like The Mandalorian, and I think other shows that Disney's going to put out on their streaming service is that these are going to be released episodically every week. They're not dumping the whole Mandalorian season on the service day one. You're going to end up with,
I like
you'll have to actually wait. Or either you have to wait until the very end, or you've got to wait until the other side.
I mean, I when this season of Stranger Things, I really tried to space out my viewing, and I would find myself watching 3 episodes at a time. I was like, I gotta stop, take a day off. I like that concept because you don't have that massive void of nothing to watch.
Right.
If you binge through 10 episodes of The Mandalorian and then they're not going to come out with a new season for another year,
at least.
I mean, how many? And so Disney's all about making money. Don't think that they're all about family entertainment. They have these shows, and so they're gonna stretch these shows out over a 6-month, 9-month period because they don't want people hopping off the subscription for 6 months or a year waiting for the next season's show to start up.
They're only going to pay for 1 month and stream everything, and then they turn it off again.
Right. I mean, they're going to get that perpetual license from you. Yeah, we can.
And you're not muted.
Maybe he is now. So, yeah, they're not.
Producer troubles.
That's smart on their end to do that. You know, I think everybody jumps on. You know, it's the HBO effect. How many people will sign up for HBO for Game of Thrones and then drop it right after Game of Thrones? Not understanding that it's those perpetual subscriptions that basically fund these shows. But it's a buyer's market right now for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. So I mean, the future of how we're going to do things is going to be real interesting, and then figuring out how people are going to make money off it, because that's the universal trick. It's not how do we want to consume things. It's going to be how can I get you to consume things and I make money.
Well, I think you're gonna see more in-place advertising. So you know you're gonna see CBS is gonna have all Coke products on their shows. It's gonna be that sort of stuff. I think that's gonna take.
Yeah, you're gonna see things like that definitely, where it's product placement's gonna be very relevant and in your face. But hopefully the good ones will do it subtly, and then the cheaper bad services you're gonna see. Oh, let me have this delicious Coca-Cola product.
Right.
You know. Whereas the other ones will just show somebody drinking Cokes or Coke banners everywhere. So it'll be different and interesting to see how it plays out.
Oh yeah. You know, like you already see it on TV, like America's Got Talent. I don't know if you watch that show, but you got the panelists, and all of them have like a Dunkin' Donuts mug at their desk, or they all have this the theme of the week, and the labels are positioned just so that they're all visible by the camera. It's funny.
Yep. Oh man.
Okay.
Well, I don't know what else to comment on really.
Yeah, I mean we had a couple other things left.
We kind of beat the D3 thing to death, or the D23 thing to death. Netflix is going to do a He-Man series. I think that'll be interesting. Kevin Smith's, I think, helming it, if I read that right or something. So I think that'll be interesting to check out once it rolls out. They're also doing a Breaking Bad movie to pick up with Jesse Pinkman after Walter White and see what happens there. So that, as a Breaking Bad fan, that'll be cool to me to check out.
Yeah, I didn't get into that show, personal reasons, but I know it had a huge following, so I think this would be good for Netflix to have that sort of content at their disposal.
Definitely.
Yeah, man, I think we kind of touched on most of the subjects for tonight. Like I said, I knew we were going to run long. So long we lost Jason, our producer, had to go produce other stuff. But I think that kind of wraps this episode. So, we do have our Midlife Crisis matinee on Thursday. So if you guys are, listening or viewing, tune in for that, as we'll discuss, some movies and give some reviews. I think we're still toying with the format. I think we're trying to find a way that makes it easy to produce and still informative. So we're tweaking that a little bit, but that's always a fun segment. We talk about classic old movies, and Jason likes to bring up Mac and Me from time to time. But yeah, Brandon, I think, appreciate your time tonight. Thanks for jumping in and running with us. We always enjoy having you on the show. So you're always welcome to come back and hang out with us.
I always have a good time.
So, well, I think that kind of wraps it. So, as they say in the Star Wars universe, may the Force be with you.
And also with you.